Now that we've saved out an HTML document, we can start to add tags to this document to enrich the content on the page. So I'm going to show you how to add headings and images and all the things that will make for a more interesting page. First thing I want to show you how to do here is add some more content, or at least modify the existing content that we've got. You're going to be building a page with a theme like History of the Internet or something of that nature. To start modifying things in that nature, the first tag I'm going to show you is the heading tag. As you can see now, the text on my page, which I'm going to call body copy in this instance, is very plain. Anything you put inside this code editor will be rendered in a very plain way in your browser. The browser itself handles the styling, and we don't want to let the browser do that. I want to tell the browser how to handle my styling. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a set of tags called heading tags. Around my hello world text inside the body of my document, I'm going to add an H1 tag. I'm going to surround the hello world with an H1 tag and save that. H1. Now I'm going to save it and refresh my browser. Look at how much bigger that got. Heading tags are really important for a couple of different reasons. For visual hierarchy, this made it larger and more bold. It also changed the font. We can control that, all of these things later, the color, the size, that type of thing. But heading tags by default will change some of those values. They make your text larger and bold. A heading, right? If I put some text underneath that, we can see that the visual hierarchy has changed, right? Your eye first goes to the larger text. You know this from basic design theory. Use that in web design. We're going to use these heading tags to call attention to specific pieces of text. Not only does it do that visually with the larger and bolder text, but this also reaches out to Google. Google's search engines, the spiders, or at least all search engines, and in the terms of this class, I'm going to use Google because that's really the only one that's important. Google will reach out into your page, spider through, send spiders into your page is what they're called, little bits of AI that look for heading tags. Any headings that are on your page are like a table of contents for Google. The more descriptive headings you put in, the better the SEO, the on-page SEO will be for your page. Long story short, use good heading tags. H1, I'm going to copy and paste that just to show you some differences here. If I change this to H2 and save it, you can see a smaller heading shows up. There are actually 10 H tags, H1 to H10. So as I change, they get progressively smaller and less bold. Generally, for web design purposes, and in terms of as far as Google's interests goes, H1 through H3 is generally as far as you need to go most of the time. You can use H4 to H10 tags, but generally H1 to H3 are the most useful and the ones that Google's looking for the most. So heading tags, that's one of the first tags you'd want to use. Another common tag, which I'm going to put around the body copy on this page, is the paragraph tag. Paragraph tag, if I save this, nothing happens by default. The paragraph tag is a great tag that sets up some other properties, some ways to style HTML, which I'll get into in a second. So now I've got some headings on my page and some paragraph tags. This is a good habit to get into when you're doing web design, is making sure each piece of text that you've got on the page is surrounded by code. That's a really good idea. All right, third thing I'm going to show you how to add in here. We've got headings, we've got paragraph text, images. How do we put images into a website? This is slightly more complicated. This leans on us having the image already on our computer. Now, if you guys are going to be using placeholder images for this, you can use stock photos, you can use all kinds of different things. I like using something literally called a placeholder image. If you go to Google and just look up placeholder images, these are just little filler images that you can use and put these in as examples, things that you would swap out later for a full-size image. So I can do this. I can open this image in a new tab, right-click and save the image out. Or you could always make your own image in Photoshop or Illustrator. I'm going to save this in the same folder as my website. Okay, that downloaded as a PNG. Let's just take a second and look at that image. Download.png. The name of the file is really important here, and the type of file you want to use. Generally for web graphics, which we'll get into a lot more in depth later in a different lesson, you want to use a JPEG, PNG, GIF, or WebP image. This is a PNG, so this will work just fine. The name of the file, I'm going to copy directly off of the file itself and go back to my Sublime Text. To add an image to the page, what you're going to do, the image itself has to be downloaded and in a folder. Notice my website week 1 folder, inside a folder with my HTML file. We're going to add a subfolder later and put this inside a subfolder, but for now you can leave the images directly in the folder with your HTML file. Once you've done that, you're going to add a specific tag for this, the IMG tag, SRC equals quotation marks. This is the image tag, IMG, image, source, SRC equals. You're going to see this a lot. Something equals quotation marks. Anytime you see something, in this case source, equals, in quotes, this is looking for a file name or a proper name. This is looking for download.png, the name of the file that we just put in that folder. So if you do IMG SRC and inside the quotation marks you put the name of the file and the location, hit save, it should, when you go back to your page, have that image is now embedded in my page. So this is, in short, how you add images and text into your document. Now there are other things that you'd want to do, like sizing the image and changing background colors and things of that nature. So those are the kinds of things you can go into. Some HTML reference files, like some HTML basics and things of that nature. HTML editors, HTML basics. This is the one on W3 Schools. And this shows you some kind of interesting things that you can do to your document: elements, attributes, formatting, styles, things like that. I encourage you to go through and find some of these things and play with them. Change your background color. Try changing colors of headings, things of that nature. Add some images inside here. Really just go through the code inside your editor and play with this code stuff and see what you can get this page to look like.